Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I'm your host, Donatus King. We'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, is a piece of God. Everything that ever happened, everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. God is a master plan for all time and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society is an interdenominational ministry. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common, and that's the knowledge that there is a being. By no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being, whether that name be God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Jehovah, Buddha, nature, the universe, by no matter what name, we know that there is a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. That's the reason we do the show, and the only reason we do the show, to deliver the message that that being that personally I call God, that being is indeed Almighty. Today is February the 4th, 2021, and I remind that fact because tonight, as we are on most Thursdays, we are live. And I remind you of that fact because this show is an open discussion. It's a two-way conversation. For those of you that are watching by Facebook, I want to make a plea to you now. I'm going to ask for your help and ask for your help in starting a watch party. Sister Michelle, thank you for joining us on Facebook. I'm going to ask that you help us deliver this message that God is Almighty. Help us with this discussion that we're going to have tonight. Help us by hitting the share button and starting a watch party. That'll help get the word out. So I ask that you do that, not only Sister Michelle, but all of our Facebook viewers. I ask you to do that. Hit the share button, hit the like button, and start a watch party. As I say, I invite you to join the discussion tonight by posting your comments on Facebook. If there's something that's going on in your church, your mosque, your masjid, your temple, your synagogue, your place of worship, and you want to let the world know about it, place your comment on Facebook, and I'll do my best to read your comment out over the air. For those of you that are going to participate by Zoom, and I invite you to participate by Zoom, for those of you that are looking, watching the show on Facebook, if you go to an earlier post, you'll see on my page, or on the messenger page, you'll see an earlier post that says a Zoom invitation. If you open that post up, and you'll see a link that you can click on, and you can join our Zoom discussion. So as I said, if there's something that's going on in your place of worship and you want to let the world know about it, either join us by Zoom or post your comments on Facebook. If there's something that's going on in a nonprofit organization, I invite you to do the same thing. Post your comments on Facebook or join us by Zoom. More important than what's going on in your place of worship, more important than what's going on in your nonprofit organization, is something that God has done for you in your life, a miracle that God has worked in your life. Thank my wife, Georgia, for joining us on Facebook. If you want to share that information, particularly if you have some testimony that you want to share, regarding a miracle that God has worked in your life. And I use that word literally, miracle, because the God I'm here to tell you about is working miracles in the year 2020. That's 2021, rather. That's right. Even on February 4th, 2021, the God I'm here to tell you about is working miracles. You know, it's so easy for some people to read the Bible and believe and understand that God worked miracles thousands of years ago. People can read the Bible and believe that God opened up the Red Sea and let Moses cross across it thousands of years ago. People can read the Bible and believe that God fed the Hebrew people in the middle of the desert with manna from heaven. People can believe what they read in the Bible when it talks about Jesus Christ walking on the water. But some people, it's hard for them to believe that in the year 2021, God can work miracles. I'm here to tell you that, yes, indeed, God can and is working miracles. In the year 2021, God is working miracles. And you know, somebody might be in need of knowing that God is working miracles. Somebody might be in need right now of knowing that there's a power that's greater than any medicine, a power that can cure any illness, any disease, any sickness that there is, a power that can heal any financial problems that you have, a power that can heal any relationship problems that you have, a power that can heal any mental problems that you might have. Someone might need to know that. If God has worked a miracle in your life, please post your testimony. Brother Eves, thank you, Brother Eves, for joining us on Facebook. Please post your testimony. Let the world know that God is still in the miracle working business. You know, don't give up hope. If you have something that's wrong with your body right now, and there's some medicine, you've tried all kinds of medicine, you might have tried all kinds of surgery, and nothing has healed your body. Don't give up hope. God can heal your body. God can heal your body. So if you've been the recipient of a miracle, and all of us we might not realize it, but we receive miracles and blessings every day. If you received a miracle, post your comments, post your testimony, let the world know it. All right, we're going to get into our show, and we have for those of you that may not be familiar with the format of the show, we have announcements, and after our announcements, we have testimonies, and after that, we'll have our religious spiritual study. And while we're doing our religious spiritual study, we're reminded, as always, in the first book of Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 21, to prove all things, hold fast that which is good. So tonight, our religious discussion will be about the Dogon religion. Okay, the Dogon religion. Some of you may know what that's about, and some of you may not. But we're going to have a discussion about it tonight. If you do know something about it, I invite you, post your comments on Facebook. Better yet, I invite you to join the Zoom panel discussion so that you can share your information with our viewers. Words of inspiration. After our religious spiritual study, we'll have our words of inspiration. That'll come out of the book of Exodus, starting in chapter 9, verses 20 through 35. What you see on the screen right now, that's our main website, and that is www.godisalmighty.org, www.godisalmighty.org. I invite you to lock that website into your browser, to lock it in. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can visit that website. And when you visit that website, there are links to all of our social media platforms. We have a blog, we have a Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You don't have to worry about writing all those different addresses down. When you go to our main website, there are links, and you can just click the link, and that'll take you directly to our social media platforms. The message, tonight the message is being delivered by me, Donatus King, and I'm coming out of New Orleans, Louisiana. But on the first and third Sundays at 9 p.m., the message is delivered by Messenger Ryan King and Messenger Corey Levier on Facebook Live at the Messenger page. So the Messenger has its own page, and Facebook Live you see at 9 p.m. on the first and third Sundays. And that show is produced by the Lafayette, Louisiana Center of the Society of Knowledge, Inc. Religious spiritual study, prove all things, hold fast that which is good, coming out of first book Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. Before we get into our discussion, this program as I say every week, there's one purpose, and that one purpose is to deliver the message that God is Almighty. And as you can see on my cap, and I wear this cap to be straightforward with that message that God is Almighty. A lot of us talk about God, we read about God, we pray to God, we think about God, we do all kinds of stuff relating to God. And as I was saying earlier, some of us can read stuff in the Bible and believe that, but it's hard for us to believe similar things going on here now in the year 2021. And I'm going to pull my cap off just to get a little bit more comfortable. And yes, you see all that luscious head of hair up there. Well, it got a little bit on the sides there. A little bit fuzz up there. But anyway, when we talk about God, some of us have gotten to the point whereas God is not real. No, God is something that we read about that used to exist thousands of years ago, back in the days of the Bible, or back in the days of the Quran or the Talmud, but not real today. And that's kind of hard to understand. If you can believe that there was a power that existed thousands of years ago, then what happened to that power? It disappeared. And if that power did not disappear, if that power exists today, did somehow over the years, did that power lose its power? Did it become weak? And I say that because I said earlier, folks are reading the Bible and read some fantastic stuff in the Bible and believe it. When I say fantastic, stuff like somebody falling off a boat and getting swallowed up by a whale and surviving for 40 days and then being spit out the belly of the whale and still be alive. That's kind of hard to believe. But folks will read the Bible and they believe that happened. Well, I mean, the question is, if things like that could happen thousands of years ago, why can't it happen today? I mentioned earlier about the Red Sea opening. Now check that out. The Red Sea opened up, and the Hebrews were able to cross over. And then when the Egyptians started to cross over, it closed back up and drowned them. People believe that. They read the Bible and they believe that. They believe that that's true. They believe that Sodom and Gomorrah, that there was brimstone and fire came out the sky and destroyed the cities because of things that were going on in those cities. And they believed that Lot's wife turned around, looked to see what's going on, and she got turned into a pillar of salt. They believe that. They really do believe that. They believe all that. They believe that there was a man that whether he was a man or something else, but walked on the water. Walked on the water, didn't sink, didn't swim, walked on the water. Deliver people from the dead. Believe all that stuff. They believe that Moses went up on a mountain and a burning bush was talking to him. They believe all that stuff. Now that's some hard stuff to believe because it's unusual, it's unordinary. just really hard to believe. But because it's in the Bible, a lot of folks believe it. A lot of other stuff in that Bible, a lot of stuff in the Quran, folks believe it. It's fantastical, but they believe it. And I'm saying all this because a lot of us have been raised with the Bible, been raised with the Quran, been raised with the Talmud, and we've been raised to believe what's in those books. No matter how fantastic it might sound, we've been raised to believe it. And so we believe it. Well, there are other books that have been written, much older than the Bible, much older than the Quran, much older than the Talmud. Other books that have been written that have some unbelievable stuff in them, some fantastical stuff in them. And when we read them, we say, this surely can't be true because it's just so fantastic, so utterly unnatural, so unbelievable. It's good for us to expose ourselves to other beliefs, to other cultures, to other knowledge. And that's what we like to do on this show, on this program. We like to open up the discussion. Sister Sylvia, thank you for joining us on Facebook. Please start a watch party. Help us get this message out. This ministry is interdenominational, meaning no matter what denomination you belong to, whether it's Jewish, Christian, Muslim, non-religion, atheist, no matter what religion you belong to, you're welcome, and you're welcome to participate in this discussion. So having said all of that, we're going to study tonight a little bit about the Dogon religion. And yes, this is Black History Month, and I want to make sure get that out. And for this month, we'll be discussing various aspects of Blackness in the context of religion and spirituality. And some of the materials that we'll be using, this is just some literature here. One book is Black God, An Introduction to the World's Religions and Their Black Gods by Dr. Supreme Understanding. Okay. Brother Israel joining us. Another, good evening, Brother Israel. Another text I recommend, African Origins of the Major Western Religions by Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanan. This are some things you could have in your library. And okay, there's some things you can have in your library. Another, Civilization or Barbarism by Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop. Another, The Destruction of Black Civilization by Dr. Chancellor Williams. Another, The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, again by Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop. And another, Stolen Legacy by George G.M. And so that's just something that if you don't have in your library, I suggest that you check them out. Good evening, brother. How you doing, Brother Israel?
Greetings. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. You may have been able to catch the opening comments. We'll
Yeah.
be talking about the Dogon religion, but before we get into that discussion, you have some things you want to share with our viewers?
Well, I'm just ready to always. First of all, I'd like to say greetings to everyone watching, and I hope y'all in fine spirits and just ready to. Time flies, so I'm just ready to just have fun and enjoy the discussion on the topic.
All right. Well, having said that, let's get into our thing. We have a couple of more announcements, and after we get those announcements, then we'll get into that discussion. All right, let's say the Dogon religion and the Dogon or and what I'm reading now from various sources on the web. And when you do that type of research, you find some conflicting stuff, but the good it's always good to check out the different sites. You see some stuff that correlates with each other and some that doesn't. And it'll say use your discernment and let the spirit guide you. But the Dogon are an ethnic group indigenous to the Central Plateau region of Mali in West Africa. And as you see on the screen right now, and I want to make sure that I don't know if we are sharing the screen now. Let's see something. Let's see. It doesn't look like we're sharing the screen, so let me back up a minute here. All right. And all right. Okay. All right. Now we have it. So we have that's a lot of times we will read things and we will read about different places and we have really no idea of where on this planet Earth those areas are. So we like to put up maps to show folks. So if you look where you can see the pointer moving around to the of your screen, it'd be the left side of your screen. That area, yeah, you can see the pointer moving around now. That gray area there, that's Mali. Okay, that's Mali. And this area, that's the African continent. Now, a lot of times when we speak about religion and the African continent, we will be talking about things that happened thousands of years ago in this area of the African continent, okay? The northeast corner of the continent. But there were things going on in spirituality and religion throughout this entire continent. So tonight, we're reading about some things that were going on this area of the continent in Mali. Dogon religious life is heightened every 60 years by a ceremony called the Sigui, which occurs when the star Sirius appears between two mountain peaks. The general ceremony rests on a belief that some 3,000 years ago, amphibious beings from Sirius visited the Dogon. The Dogon have become popularized for their ancient tales on human origins and extraterrestrial contact. According to legend, a race of beings called Nomo came from the star system Sirius thousands of years ago. The beings are said to have come to Earth and provided humans with knowledge. They gave the Dogon information about their solar system as well as our own. These same creatures also appear in Babylonian and Sumerian myths. Oddly, the Dogon did have knowledge for centuries that were, until Galilei on his telescope, unknown to the Western world. They identified Jupiter's moons and Saturn's rings and knew that the sun was the center of our solar system. They have stories about the Big Bang and other astronomical events. They had awareness about an invisible companion star orbiting Sirius that was unidentified until 1970. It baffles scientists to this day that an ancient race had knowledge of solar systems that cannot be seen without the help of high-powered telescopes. The Dogon practiced an animist religion, which believes all things and natural forces contain a living soul. Their religion is defined primarily through the worship of Amma, the creator god, and of their ancestors and protective spirits. That's just a little bit introduction about the Dogon. And Brother Israel, with the table being set, join in.
Yeah. Well, the Dogon, like you say, there's other things going on in Africa in regards to our culture and our history, but no matter, it all still ties in to us in the modern times right now in America in 2021, what the Dogon talk about, and also it ties into even further than prior to the Dogons even going into that region once again. So our history is like, we can't separate it no matter how people may try to separate it and say, oh, we talking about East Africa. Now let's talk about West Africa. What do we talk about? East Africa, West Africa, South Africa, North Africa, China, Europe, South America, North America, Central America, New Zealand, Australia. You're talking about African Black people. I just want to put that out there. So, you know, to move past the sectarian thing. But with the Dogons, that part of our culture is extraordinary, because during that time in history when these guys, Marcel, I don't know his last name, two French dudes, Marcel and Germain or something. I had the book back in the days. I lost it when Katrina hit. It was a book called The Serious Mysteries.
Right, and Marcel Grial and Germain Guilin.
Yeah, well, I know I remember the first name, but I had that, and I used to study out that book. And I also had the Pale Fox, and I had Urugu, all from Community Book Center. Well, anyway, in that, when I was studying that information, I was, you know, it was, they had went into the met the tribe or whatever about the 1930s or whatever. I don't know how they so-called learned the language of a tribe that they never met. You know, that was always kind of funny to me. But anyway, you know, the story goes that they got all this information from the elders in this book. It's a good book too. It's an awesome book actually. And talking about the Serious Mysteries. And from my knowledge, from reading those two books, because that was like the forerunners of any information on the Dogon were those two sources. It's like no other sources on that. And from studying that and coming up until now, 25 years later or whatnot, what I get from is that it all still ties into the concept stories of Christianity, the concept stories of ancient Kemet. And like you even said, in Babylonian stuff, they'll show relations in regards to some of the ideology and the pictographs and stuff. So my information on Dogon is that they were said to have migrated from the east. And the east of Mali would be the Nile Valley. I was told from that information, you can see it in the Serious Mysteries too. They talk about how they migrated from the east and settled in that area where they already had Africans still too. And there was supposed to be a set of priests and priestess and great astronomers and astrologers from the Nile Valley, you know. And once they settled in that area, they kept a lot of our ancient culture and information with them, because this is why I like people to understand before I move into that. In ancient Kemet, in the Temple of Karnak, you had over 80,000 priests at one point in history, like during the time of Ramses the First. That place houses like over 80,000 priests and priestesses who travel throughout the world with all this information, you know. And the Dogon was one of those places, like we have temples and churches and monasteries, lodges. It was the same thing in the ancient world. And the Dogon was one of our repositories of knowledge and information. And what was different about the Dogon is that once the Islamic wave was coming across North Africa, and everybody was being swept under the wave of Islam, the Dogons were able to avoid that being converted to Islam, because they made themselves seem so wild and crazy, so savage, to where the Islamics didn't see them fit to give them Islam. So they had ways to preserve African culture and African knowledge. And the story of Amma, which is the father, mother, which is the mother, because it has Amma, ma in the word Ma. And they tell a story of Ogu, which, from my understanding, is the adult brought Zeus, Jehovah, Set. They tell a story of this evil guy who created this world. You know what I'm saying? They tell the story of the Namu, was the people or this person, this whose symbol is a fish. It's the same symbol of Jesus Christ, or the same symbol with Christianity is used for the Christ, the fish. His symbol is a fish. They tell him and how he come to bring order and, restore order in this chaotic world. So, in a nutshell, the Dogon talk about a lot of the same things that all the cultures taught about when we go into esoteric, real knowledge and real information that's not supposed to be available for the people. And definitely from a spiritual sense, the wicked guys do not want this type of information now, because everybody, it's a lot of things going on with that. But since we talking about the Dogon, it's Black History Month. Well, they're a Black culture, and they taught that there was one deity that created all, which is the Amma. Because if you don't know a person's ideology or their psycho-spirituality, you don't know nothing about the culture, because culture comes from the mind. So I got to explain psycho-spiritual things first before you just go try to talk about knitting a basket, making colorful clothes or jumping 12 feet in the air, So with that being said, you started off talking about Sirius because they had that knowledge and information prior to modern scientists. And we all know all the ancient cultures had that science. It's just that during that period when those guys met that particular tribe, they had the most extensive information on Sirius that they had come across at that time in human history, outside of what they learned in the hieroglyphs and all the other scripts, the Sanskrit scripts, whatever scripts they also learned about Sirius. But that once they ran across the Dogon, that just bust the game wide open, because they clearly didn't have no technology. Like I said, the Islamic wave went past them, so they didn't receive telescopes or the one-eyed, that type of stuff, which Islam already had, because they was already studying the stars. But it's just that our people are so magical and we so connected to nature, and that tribe of the Dogon, I wouldn't call it a religion, because what they were doing, they didn't classify as religion. It was just their way of life and their way of being. So they didn't have no Dogon religion or nothing like that. And it was just so fascinating for those guys to come across that type of knowledge and information. And then, in 1990s, I think, their information of Sirius A, B, and C, the binary star systems and stuff, all proved to be true, proved to be facts that they still trying to study right now. And with their cosmology, with their information, like I see, they talk about Alma, the all mother. I call it a mother. I can't say father, because when you read information on the internet, they say the father, the man, which we already know. In all ancient cultures, when you hear ma in something, that's mama. It's still alive right now, 2021. Mama. So Ma is the mother. And also, during the process of her creating series A, B, and C star system in this physical reality that we're in, giving birth to a pair of twins. One of the twins, during his first pair of creation, one of the twins broke loose, was born uncompleted. His name is Ogu. And he, didn't wait for his twin sister to be born. And what Ogu did was, with the placenta of his mother, which he broke out of, he created this universe, Earth, this universe, according to the Dogon teachings. It sounds so similar to other stuff I talk about. And what that happened, Ogu, created souls and spirits and things and put them here. And the mother, Amma, to correct the error and the things that Ogu did, she sent the son, the Namu. Now, people try to say the Namu is spirits. Well, the Namu is spirits, and the Namu is not one being. Just like I'm trying to always share with the people that Christ is not one being. The Namu means spirits or whatnot. Spirits mean more than one, a plural, whatever. So the Namu, in my sense, and from what I've been researching and what I've been privy to understand, is the people, a spiritual people that's being sent to the planet to undo the Ogu or the negative father wrong that he set according to the Dogon teachers. So the Namu are the spirits that are here, that came.
Go ahead, brother.
No, I'm saying they're here and that came during the Piscean era, or the era of the Christ. That's why the fish is so prevalent. Even with the Pope and them still wearing fish symbolism, they know what's going on, but we don't get it all.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if you were able to hear my earlier comments relating to people read stuff in books and believe it, particularly folks that have read the Bible, the Quran, the Talmud, and believe what they read in there, no matter how fantastic it might seem, and you mentioned some of the studying that you've done. You mentioned about the Namu, Amma. Do you believe that stuff?
Well, I don't deal with beliefs because, first of all, at the age of 18, I was given a question, you rather believe or you rather know?
Mm-hmm.
I chose no, because I was told if you believe something, you're unsure. And if you're unsure of something, that means you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So belief leads to unknowing, or believing in things leads to not knowing. So I rather know. So I know that all these stories that they're talking about, this mythological science, it has purpose, because it's the same similar teachings from the prior cultures and the current esoteric cultures. So I know that it has some purpose in regards to a spiritual being, spiritual beings coming to here to help rectify all this chaos. Because the chaos of Ogu symbolizes the order that's about to come. So the chaos is supposed to be here to bring the order. That's why I have no problem with all this crazy stuff going on in the world, crazy as it sounds. Because I know I can't, it's happening in front of my face. I can't control none of this politics, people bum rushing the White House, dudes killing each other in the streets. I can't control none of that. You can't control none of that. So it's this chaos is something that's out of our hands. So I know these stories gotta be true because I see it, I live it. I'm the 45 years I've been on this planet, living in New Orleans and living in other cities, it ain't all that good. Outside of what I'm making and outside of what nature has to offer. But what humanity do and how humanity running society, it definitely is chaotic. So yeah, I think I know these stories have purpose. I don't believe in them, but I know they have purpose.
Okay. Now, knowing that they have purpose is not really the question that I asked. The question, do you know, because you said you don't deal in beliefs, do you know that these stories are factual? Do you know that there's a half man, half fish that came down from Sirius and visited the earth and gave the Dogons knowledge?
Well, once again, just to educate our people, I teach godhood and godhood training. So what that's really about, once again, is all about the symbolic that goes on in our organs, that goes on with the activation of what we call the spine, what we call the DES, what we call the Kundalini system, what we call the Uraeus, the crown. So yeah, yes, yeah, it definitely is real. It's real. Yeah, it's real because the star system Sirius is real. Our ancestors have been teaching about Sirius forever. We definitely see the sun and stars out here. The symbolism that I could go into in regards to the Christ, the soul, melanin, 666, the Namo. Yeah, it's all really makes sense to me. And I am that. And I'm waking up others to that because we got to get out of this false God. It's a false God out here that's running this reality. Yeah, it's a false God out here running this reality. And I represent the mother energy, the Christ, the real Christ energy that's breaking away all this falsehood or this male delusion. So yeah.
All right. Now you've mentioned as far as a false god, so they're different gods.
Once again, now we're talking about the no Dogon, correct?
Okay,
And
well, okay, yeah. Well, let's get back to the Dogons.
no, the question ties into that perfectly.
Okay.
Because we're talking about the Dogon. And the Dogon I spoke of, Amma, creating creation, the star systems, and everything beyond this star system. But in this Milky Way galaxy, Ogu is the creator. Ogu symbolizes that trickery, that jealous God, that being that don't want no other to serve or be served but him. The trickster of reality, the one who got the souls trapped in this reality. That's why Amma sent Tanamu to liberate the spirits or to liberate the souls. You know, so yeah, and that Ogu equates to Zeus when we go deeper into these stories, when we go deep into this reality. That Ogu equates to Yahweh when we go deeper into these stories. That Ogu equates to Allah. That Ogu equates to Jesus, not Christ, but Jesus. That Ogu equates to all negative male principles in this reality. Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. This has been an interesting, Brother George. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. And I want to remind and encourage our Facebook viewers to start a watch party so that we can share this information, get others, as you heard, Brother Israel, sharing with us some information. We want to make sure that we let that information spread as much as we can. Brother Israel, it's good to have these discussions and these conversations. You were mentioning something earlier about the Dogon coming from the east, which would be in the direction of Egypt. And something interesting as far as, and I haven't done a lot of research on this issue, but some of the research that I've done, it indicates that the Egyptians paid quite a bit of attention to the star Sirius, a lot of attention because its appearance at a certain point in the horizon indicated that the Nile River was about to flood. And as you know, the Nile was the lifeblood of Egypt. Is any of your research related to that?
Meaning what?
As far as the Egyptians, their knowledge about the star Sirius.
Oh yeah, of course. That was Spidet. That's Spidet. They didn't call it Sirius, called Spidet. It's only named Sirius because it's a combination of Osiris and Isis. Mm-hmm. If you listen to it, Sirius, Osiris, Isis. But anyway, yeah, Spidet. That's the dark-skinned child. That's the dark-skinned daughter. That's the dog star. That's the black BITCH. Yeah, I could go heavy into that. Yeah, our ancestors taught. With Actually, they're the first one to teach on Spidet. They teach about beings from Spidet, Sirius. They teach about those beings going from Sirius to Orion, or Sahu or Sa, and then coming to Earth to help liberate us. So yeah, not beings but energy. I ain't gonna spook people out like some aliens. Nah, not no aliens, some green monsters. I'm talking about symbolic energy, like for all the people into astrology and to stuff like that, into birth charts. We talk about spiritual soul energy here, not no spooky aliens.
Okay, so we're not talking about spooky aliens. How about angels or something like that, or what?
Exactly, angels. Because guess what? From the teachings that I studied, Dr. Phil Valentine broke this knowledge and information that those angels that we see, once again, it's all a play on word. It's angles. And those angels are actually angles of light. All the angels are actually angles of light that hit the human body at different degrees. So yes, the energy, not aliens, or the angels are the angles of light reflecting from these different light sources. You see?
The studying that you've done and the knowledge that you've acquired, and there's some things that you kind of danced around a little bit. And I'm saying danced around, it's like you had a book that was open, but you didn't know whether or not you ought to open up a certain chapter of the book and share it with.
On my brain,
Go ahead, brother.
I'm saying, like, I have a book actually open, or you just talking about my mind, or?
No, it's like there's some knowledge that you have, and
well, everything can't be divulged, and especially in this medium.
Okay, well, let me finish this up, brother. There's a book that I read, and that book is the Bible, and it speaks in there, and I'm not gonna say I agree with it 100%, but it references Jesus speaking about not throwing the pearls before the swine, and that I fed you with milk because your system wasn't strong enough to handle anything stronger than that. And that's kind of like what I'm picking up from some of the discussions that we're having. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'm asking, am I wrong on that, or is that playing into some of your comments?
Well, yeah, you're wrong, because like I say, some things can be divulged, but once my spirit turned up, I can't be all proper. Vulgarity and stuff comes out. The balance, my spiritual energy. So some things I can't just go off into talk about. But on the flip side of that, these are the words. These are the exoteric things. The things that you ain't gonna see is me breathing techniques, meditation techniques, my yoga techniques. That's the stuff you don't see. You can hear all this, but you don't see the action and see the work. That's how that go.
All right. And Brother Troy, thank you for joining us on Facebook. Please start a watch party. You're speaking about those techniques and energy. I mentioned earlier, as far as encouraging our viewers to share their testimony. It's I know, not believe, but I know that miracles are occurring every day. I know that there are things that can't be explained with medicine or science or anything else, that there's a power that I call God that's working miracles every day. Do you have that same knowledge, Brother Israel?
Yeah, it's the Namu.
Okay. All right.
It's the novel. Since we're talking about the Dogon, we're talking about same energies, different names, different masks. And since we're talking about the Dogon, everything that you just said, that's the Namu.
Mm-hmm.
Those forces at work, working miracles. Inside all this chaos. That's the Namu.
Now, you know, this is fantastic this evening that we have testimony this evening about miracles. And you hear me talk about it, and you hear me use different language, different ways of expressing that. And now you hear Brother Israel expressing it in a different way. So I'm just highlighting that because as we go through this, sometimes we might, Brother Israel, we had Dr. Franklin on the program a couple of weeks ago, and she was speaking about what she does in her profession as a social worker. And you know that we're going through some things right now, Brother Israel, uh, in the world, worldwide, where we're experiencing different things that we haven't experienced in our lifetimes and in generations. And some folks are, some folks are snapping. They're just losing their mind, trying to deal with these things. There was Brother Israel. I know that you're aware about this fellow this past week in New Orleans that pulled out a machete and chopped this person over by the gas station.
I didn't know it was a machete. I heard somebody got stabbed at a gas station. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they said it was one account said it was a long knife, but another account said it was a machete. And I saw a picture of this guy at the gas station, a still photograph, and that looked like a machete to me. Uh, but again, there are, as you said, brother, that we're going through some times right now in the world, times that have been, in my knowledge, times that have been designed for a purpose. Purpose is like when you bake a cake. One of the things that you have to do is you have to go in that chicken coop and take that chicken's eggs, snatch them right away from her, from the mother hen. And then that developing chicken, that embryo that's encased in that egg, you gotta bust that joker open. When you're committing murder right there, and then you take and beat up that egg, all of that because you're getting ready to bake a cake. Bake a cake. We're going through something right now. There's a purpose behind everything that we're going through. All right, brother. We have a few more minutes left in the show, and brother.
I wanted to say amen. That's one of the names for Alma also is amen.
Right.
Alma, amen. That was the.
All right, brother. You have some closing comments for us, Brother Israel?
Yeah, well, I got these kids in the background. It's all about the children, in regards to now and the future, and it's all about us too. It ain't just about the children, because we got to be here for the children, so we work together. So just people out there, continue to take care of yourself, and this is Black History Life. It's not Black History Month. It's your life. So learn about the normal, learn about all these different entities, because they all represent you. They're all inside of you.
All right, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Israel, for joining us tonight and sharing your information, sharing your knowledge. I thank all of our viewers that have watched on Facebook. Thank you all for hitting that share button, hitting that like button, starting that watch party. And as I said at the beginning of the show, this ministry is not about trying to convince anybody about anything. It's about sharing knowledge. And the greatest knowledge that I had is the knowledge that there is an almighty being. I thank all of our viewers. Thank you, Brother Israel, again, for participating on the panel. And you heard Brother Israel give his testimony tonight that there is a power, that miracles are real. And I emphasize that there is an almighty being, and no matter what your condition in life at this minute, at this second, that no matter what you're going through, that there is a power that can bring you through it. And before I close, thank you, Brother James, for joining us on Facebook. Before I close, I just want to share something, a little bit something with you. Yesterday, just past yesterday, one of my brother-in-laws transitioned. And, my feelings go out to my sister, my nephew, my nephews, to their loss, to my entire family on our loss. And I use that word transition, and I use it purposely because my knowledge is that there is really no end. No end. It's a change. It's a transition. It's a change in the material part of our makeup. It's a change in the spiritual part of our makeup. It's a change in that energy. It's a change. It's not a cessation. It's not an end. It's a change. And sometimes change is hard to deal with when we become used to something and that something changes. It's hard to deal with sometimes. My words to my sister is that my prayer as you go through this, as we go through this, that Almighty God bless us with peace and not being selfish with my family, no matter whatever it is that any of our viewers have to go through this week. And as you heard Brother Israel speaking about things that are going on, but the things that are part of what's been planned. I don't know what God has planned. I don't know what the universe has planned for any of us in this upcoming week. But I do know that whatever it is that we have to go through, that the Almighty can bring us through it with peace. And as I close, that's my prayer. No matter whatever it is that God is playing for us in this upcoming week, that God blesses you and yours with peace. Good night, everybody. Peace. Peace, Brother Israel.